Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for another event in our UMass Informs speaker series. We are very honored to be hosting four of our very successful UMass graduates today as the panelists and very close friends of us. They all were among the most active officers of our UMass Informs in recent years. Presidents, vice president, we won many awards together. And today we have them as the panelists to share their experience, how they have been successful in their graduate studies, and how they have found really good positions for their future career, which is now their current career. So if I want to go in details for every panelist, I would take the whole time. So I will just suffice with just a very brief introduction of each of the panelists. So we have Dr. Deniz Besik. She has a PhD in management science from Eisenberg. I have been honored to be her lab mate. I've learned a lot from her. And she's now assistant professor of management at the Robbins School of Business at the University of Richmond. And we are gonna hear from her how she was this successful, and she started just this fall in the pandemic. We also have Mr. Vijeta Deshpande. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I was calling him with his first name during these past years. He has a Master of Science in Industrial Engineering, and he has a very interesting position now. He is a research specialist at Massachusetts General Hospital. So they are literally battling the COVID-19 with their OR expertise. And also we have Dr. Rodrigo Mercado Fernandez. He also has a PhD in industrial engineering. He is now a postdoctoral research scholar at the Appalachian Energy Center. He has also been like a good friend of us and have been in UMass Informs chapter for many years, and have been very successful in his PhD studies and now in his position. He also found his position in the pandemic, started in the pandemic. So we're gonna hear from him how we can find a job in even this kind of difficult situation. And the last one is Dr. Katerina Deliali. She has a PhD in transportation engineering. She has been also serving in UMass Informs. She was our president. And she is now a postdoctoral research associate at National Technical University of Athens in Greece. So this is again another experience that you want to hear, how to go, like how to decide to go from US university, go back to home, finding a good position at your home country. So that's it about the introduction. I'm just gonna let you know that I'm gonna ask the questions. Panelists will go over each topic, and then we move to another topic. I mean, they are all friends, they are special ones, and I mean, they will discuss with each other maybe. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. So we will read them, or the panelists will read them and answer them at the end of the discussions, or you can simply unmute yourself at the end and ask your questions. Again, thank you for being here, and yeah, that's it. Professor Nagini, do you want to say a word?
No, welcome everyone. It's great to see you all. Very, very exciting. Very much looking forward to this. And congratulations to the chapter on awards for the building of community and for the successes of our graduates.
Thank you, sir. Okay, I'm gonna start going over the topics. The first topic is about how you decide between the academia and industry, or I mean any other division if there is any, for your future job when you are still a graduate student. Mostly we are discussing about ORMS, but it can be a general, also a general discussion. So we first hear from Dr. Deniz Besik, who has decided to be in academia. Let's hear from her. What are the pros and cons for her?
Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. Hi, Professor Nagurni. It's been a while since I guess so, you. Well, this is amazing. Thank you for arranging this chapter. I really missed everyone. First of all, I want to say that. So currently I'm in Richmond. As Mojtaba mentioned, I have a position at the University of Richmond as an assistant professor of management. So to talk about the first question, how did I decide between academia and industry? So I guess the main reason is that I always liked studying and always liked learning in general in my life. So I think this is like the main biggest reason that kind of pushed me towards academia. But if I look at my PhD journey and what I did during my PhD is kind of, I can maybe give a better answer to this question. So when I first started my PhD, I didn't have a clear idea of what I would do next. I mean, I was in between academia and industry, so it was like 50% academia and 50% industry. But then as I took more courses, as I went to more conferences, interacted with more people, either professors or students, I had an idea of, okay, maybe academia would be a better choice for me. And, I guess Professor Nagurni and other professors that I interacted with also had a big influence on me. I see these people and I want to be like them. I feel like they have a good life and, they have their summers off. So like, okay, this might, summers off. I mean, not like off. But so I felt like, oh, maybe this would be a good journey for me. And I also really like doing research, and then teaching. I had an opportunity to teach in Eisenberg. So I guess like overall, these things kind of helped me to make a decision between academia and industry. And I'm really glad that I took the path of, and I was fortunate to, get a job and in academia. So overall, I'm really happy that I took this path. So yeah, that's my answer, I guess.
Thank you. So now let's hear from Vijeta how you did decide what kind of career you want to have.
First of all, thank you for holding this session. This is really great opportunity to discuss with everyone what are their opinions, and I wish we also had these sessions when I was in school. So I'll try to deliver to that responsibility. So I'm going to compare industry and academia based on research opportunities. So how different research opportunities you might get in different domains, and or what exactly research looks like in an industry and in academia. The other point for comparison is like your financial perspectives. So I think if you're inclining towards your financial gains in short term, long term, then definitely there are more opportunities in industry to have better paying jobs. So that I think is more clearer than the research opportunities part. So if you think you prefer managerial positions and you are having some financial perspectives or inclinations, then you should definitely go for industry because there are more opportunities to grow there. But based on research opportunities, I'll try to give you a perspective of my team and what I have been seeing or hearing from my friends who are working in industry. So research in industry is also gives you a good idea about engineering part also, implementation of research, which I think is really, really important. Wherever you work in academia or if you work in industry, you should always have a perspective of how to implement things, how to engineer your solutions and solve the problems that you're actually trying to solve in your research. And this is the most beneficial point that I've seen in industry, where you get to work with real life systems and see what are their constraints, and then work with multidisciplinary teams. And then many of the individuals in your team are not from technical background. So you also get some opportunities to communicate your research with them, which is very key when it comes to, all of us are from mathematical background. So whenever you're communicating your results with someone from political science or someone from healthcare, someone who is physician, clinician, so it becomes a key aspect that you practice communicating your research with all the individuals in the team who are not from mathematical background for implementing your solutions. So this is the most advantageous part in industry that I've seen. And because you get such opportunities to understand working of the real life working of research and also implementing solutions, I believe this advantage, like I have seen this change in myself, that your research perspective also becomes slightly accommodating of all those aspects. So for example, you understand few solutions cannot are optimal but are not viable in practice. So you start to think about how to modify your research question, how to formulate the problem in different sense, so that this solution can be implemented in short term, and you'll get to see slightly more benefits than the status quo scenario. So I've seen this change in me, where I started to think about implementing better solutions than going to target optimal solutions. So I believe the perspective is very important from the implementation part, and jobs in industry will expose you to opportunities where you work with multidisciplinary team, and you understand the implementation of mathematics better. So for that reason, I would vote for industry, and this is solely from the research perspective. So that would be my take, that if you want to compare research opportunities in academia and industry, then you will get more implementation opportunities in industry.
Okay, thank you, Vijeta. Very significant points you mentioned. Now let's hear from Rodrigo, how you did choose the path after your graduate studies.
Yeah, well, also, first I want to say congratulations again to the chapter, and thank you for having me. It's definitely great to see a lot of familiar faces, people that we spent a lot of time with at a time at UMass. So I'd say that I was also not very decided when I started my PhD program. I would say maybe I was even leaning a little bit more towards industry, but I wasn't sure if industry or academia. So I think it's definitely very useful to I guess try to have a wide range of experiences while at grad school. I'd say kind of like a turning point for me was when I started to TA in my third year. I had some experience as a kind of like a teaching assistant, and also running some classes and developing my own curriculum for different classes. And throughout these experiences and working with students, I realized how much I liked working with students, how much I liked working in classes and stuff like that. And it was something surprising to me. So I guess that definitely, like, if you have the opportunity to for a TA or something, like, I'd say it's definitely worth it if you think you'd like to go into industry or a research lab. Like, there are a lot of opportunities for a semester or for a summer internship. So always, I guess, firsthand experience would be the best. Like, you might think you like like a national lab or something, but yeah, being there, seeing the people there, seeing the day-to-day work, that's going to be always, I guess, the best guide for you. Yeah, and so throughout my time as a grad student, I saw that I did enjoy research work, and I really enjoyed working with students, and so this was, I guess, kind of pushing me towards looking for maybe opportunities in academia where maybe a little bit more teaching focused, that I guess, depending on the institution, the brunt of your work will be research or it'll be more teaching. So I guess it's trying to find an institution, I guess, that has similar interests to your own, that'll either let you focus on students or focus on research or applying to grants, stuff like that. Luckily, I was able to find start a postdoc recently, and so this has been a good opportunity for me to continue to develop my research portfolio, applying to grants and stuff like that.
Thank you, Rodrigo. I mean, it's great that we have like kind of from the same majors that have pursued different paths, and we are hearing like different reasons. And now Katerina, that she's in Greece, PhD in transportation engineering, and let's hear her reasons.
Yeah. Again, as everyone, I would like to thank you all for having me here, and it's great to see so many people that I hadn't seen, for a while, even not virtually. So for me, I mean, I know that there are some people that start doing a PhD because they want to become professors. So for me, that was not the case in the beginning, and eventually, while I did have some opportunities to teach, it did not change my mind that that would be something that I would like to do. And despite the fact that now I'm doing a postdoc and I'm at the university, I'm mainly doing this because I wanted to, it's a position that gives me the opportunity to do research, which I like doing research, and in our department, we do a lot of applied research. So in most of the cases, we are delivering research outputs to someone. So what I like about this is that you are working on something and then someone takes your output and implements it. And it can, draw decisions on policy. It can shape needs for new research projects. So this is an ongoing thing. And I think this suits better to the way I think and the way I see the world, rather than being at a university and also spend time working with students, because as a professor, you also need to be a good teacher. You need to be a very good mentor. I think for me, I really like more the fact that I can work on applied research and deliver this outcome.
Thank you, Katerina. It was, I mean, we started really good with the first discussion. Now we're gonna move to the second one, and that is when you decided what you're gonna do in the future, how you get ready for that during your graduate studies for your future job. So, I mean, you decide that, and then you have some years to get ready for that when you're gonna start that position, that job. Deniz?
I like this question. So I think the first question was the hardest, to decide what you're going to do, and the second is like how to get ready for it. So I would like to give 4 different answers for this question. So the first one is, sometimes people don't care about it that much, but I think having, at the beginning of your PhD, I think you're just focusing on your courses and you're taking classes, but some people say that, it's not necessary to like get good grades from PhD. But I think I think it's very important to get good grades and like work or study on your classes. And it helped me a lot. I mean, maybe in the job market, you wouldn't necessarily show your GPA or your transcript, but I think the things that you learn from those classes will help you a lot eventually. And I definitely say that, you know, in your first couple, if you're, you know, if you just started your PhD, focus on your classes and start getting good grades and try to get good grades at least. And this was the first one. And the second one is work on your papers, make your advisor happy, you know, do research, which will eventually help you a lot. You know, if either you stay in academia or go in industry, I guess, like, you know, make your boss happy. And the third one would be, if you can, I mean, for me, since I decided to go in academia, I guess I had also the opportunity to teach classes in Eisenberg. So, you know, starting from our third year, we start teaching classes to undergraduate students. And I believe that this would help me a lot in terms of, you know, the job market, or later, you know, after I got, now I'm teaching, and, you know, my experiences in Eisenberg helped me a lot in a sense that, you know, for teaching and getting a better teacher. And this was also a big factor. And the fourth one would be go to conferences. I know it's not happening these days, but networking and then meeting with people, even, you know, you are now a member of UMass Informed Student Chapter. I feel like this also helped me a lot to network, to meet people, to meet other professors, other PhD students. So networking is also a big factor to get ready after grad school, you know, what you want to do, either in industry or in academia. I believe that networking will help everyone. So these are my four, you know, different answers, you know, how I got ready for for my job after graduate school, or even the job market. So get good grades, work on your research, teach if you can, and also network, meet people, talk to people. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for pointing to very important ones. And I'm happy that Eisenberg gives us this opportunity to teach. And now this chapter that we actually now literally hearing from you, this is another opportunity that we have to get ready for the future careers. Thank you. Now, Vijeta, would you tell us how you got ready for like being in the position that you have now in the Massachusetts General Hospital?
Yeah, sure. So this is actually a difficult question in a sense that with the pandemic, you know, there are a lot of things which are changing, which are not going to be same as before. Like Deniz mentioned, that going to conference helps a lot, and I agree to that point. But now conferences being held online, it is slightly difficult to network with your peers and take benefit of the conference, and then you know, just take advantage of that environment which is created in generally conferences. So definitely now it is going to be slightly difficult, and it is new for everyone, not just individuals who are searching for jobs, but also for the companies who are hiring for jobs. So few of the advices might not match to current scenario, but definitely I'll mention what exactly I did during my master's and how it helped me to find a good job. So couple of things are really important in my opinion are if you're working on some research problem and in UMass we do have a really good research opportunities, right? Even master students do get opportunities to do really good research and contribute to different labs. So one thing that can happen during the couple of years of masters is that you become so focused on the problem that you're trying to solve in your research, and you kind of isolate yourself from the other problems in the same domain, or what are the capabilities of other methods which can solve the same problem. So I would suggest that practice formulating different problems and see how people are trying to solve the same problem from the different methods. And if you're using, let's suppose you're using integer programming for your research question, then see what other types of problem can be solved with that method. So it gives you a slightly more room for your understanding. And if you're interviewing some company which is not focused, whose applications are not focused to your research domain, then it becomes helpful to discuss with them how your research can help them to solve their problems, or how other methods can help them to solve their research problems. So it becomes important to practice, formulate different problems, or use methods to solve different problems. So yeah, I would like rank practicing solving different problems like first importance. And the other thing I would like to mention is try to work on data sets which are close to real scenarios, and not work on data set which are already cleaned. So start from a data set which has a lot of noise, a lot of cleaning to do. That will give you a sense of what are exactly your tasks at a job, so that you can be prepared for those kind of questions in your interviews. Cleaning data, then just doing exploratory analysis on the data set, and then try to formulate a question and then solve it. So going through all of this process multiple times will train you how you should how you should approach different problems in different industries. So that again comes under the practice point. And the last point I would like to mention is try to figure out. So for example, if you are trying to focus on some industry that you want to go for this industry for your industrial job, then try to figure out what exactly are the tools that the team or most prevalent tools that this industry is using. For example, if you see in healthcare, mostly people are using SAS or R or Python, then try to get like as much expertise in those tools as possible during your master studies. So in short term, that will help you a lot to getting to know different tools which are used in industry. So yes, those are the 2 points I would mention heavily. That one is practicing, and the second is getting to know different tools which are used in industry.
Thank you, Vijeta, for sharing your experience with us. And now, Rodrigo, I think, the points that you mentioned, that becoming a TA, going to internship helps you to decide. I think that will also help you to gain the experience. But would you please more elaborate for us on this question?
Yeah, so I guess on how to, get how to get prepared for your future career. Well, yeah, I think, yeah, again, so this depends, I guess, on how clear of an idea you have of where you'd like to be. But yeah, in general, definitely, as Deniz mentioned, I think papers, especially if you think about academia or a postdoc, papers are going to be a great tool for you to differentiate yourself, to really, I guess, showcase your abilities to do work and to finish projects. So I think trying to be productive on your papers is a big thing. And of course, I think the importance of networking can't be understated. Although ideally, I guess I'm not sure that I could give good advice right now on how to network remotely given the circumstances, but hopefully, I don't know, maybe next summer's the thing when conferences and stuff go back together. Networking is definitely one of your most important tools that you have at your disposal, I think. So going up to people in your field and introducing yourself and making yourself be seen is definitely a very important tool, just to be on people's radars, for sure. Yeah, and I think it's very important to just to try to take advantage of every tool that we have available. And a lot of this could be even, you know, the Office of Professional Development holds a lot of workshops to help people for industry positions, for academic positions, for writing all your different statements that you would want. They have workshops on this. So definitely reach out to them. There are a lot of resources on campus to help us navigate through this long, hard process. And a lot of times, sometimes we're not aware of them, or we just don't use them. But definitely, you should do that. And I think a key thing is just to let people know you're looking for a position or what you're looking for. Just like to be very vocal about it. Yeah, a couple of months ago we had this kind of like emergency situation where a friend of ours, she lost her current position because of COVID, and she put on Twitter like, I'm looking for a job, like, can people help me? And you know, like, people in our network helped her, and a week later she had a new postdoc position to start. So, you know, just letting people know, you know, like, oh, like, I'm working for this kind of thing, you know, this person might not have something for you, but they might know somebody who does. So yeah, so definitely, like, let everybody know you're looking, and yeah, sign up for use as many online sites that you have. You know, Informs has its job market like notifications, Glassdoor, LinkedIn. I guess especially if if you're in the job market right now, I guess like within the next year. I think the job market in general is always like very competitive. You're going to have to send out a lot of applications, just hear back from a few, maybe and from those that you hear back, just get a few offers. So especially right now, it's a lot about I guess being patient, being persistent. You know, there are a lot of competitive people out there, so it's normal to get a lot of rejections or not hear back. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing something wrong. You just have to keep with it. Yeah, because you never know where that opportunity might come from. So especially right now, I guess you might have to be a little bit more open-minded, maybe catch a little bit of a wider net than you might otherwise. But yeah, I think that's what I would recommend.
Thank you, Rodrigo. So, I mean, you kind of moved to the next question, which is really helping. Like, we have a smooth transition to the next question, which is mostly about the job market phase. Also, it has another part that I think we covered it, how we can become a successful ORMS graduate student. But I think we need to like mostly focus on the second part, which is about the job market itself. I know that Deniz started looking for, I'm so sorry, it was Katerina's call, right? Oh, okay, sorry. So let's hear from Katerina, sorry, and then we can move to the job market phase. So Katerina, tell us how you got ready, and it is special that we have Katerina. She was in transportation engineering, so we may say it is not exactly the ORMS, so it is good that we are hearing with, about also another major, which is transportation engineering, and how a graduate student can be get ready for their future job in your major.
Yeah. So, as I said again, I was not targeting academia, but I think I want to share something that my advisor shared with me, and builds on what Deniz mentioned earlier. So I think for those going to academia, it's really important to pay attention to your classes and keep a good file of the, keep a folder and all the notes you have, all the lectures and everything. Because my advisor was saying to me that this will be the material for me or for anyone else to start building their own classes once they get a professor job. So it's really important taking classes and making sure that you are doing well in those. That's a side note, not my experience so far. I mean, this is not what I did to prepare for the job because I was not going to academia. So for me, what I was doing for a while is that I started around when I was entering my third year, to looking at companies that I was potentially interested, and through the reports we were working or with papers, every time I saw a paper that a company was involved there, I would go and see what are the people working in that company. Do they have people that have a PhD? What PhD do they have? What is the skill set that they have? Like, what do they bring into the table? And I think for us in engineering and in STEM overall, it's really important that we have a set of technical skills. Like, it's extremely important to know how to code. It's extremely important in your own discipline to know some certain software. For us in transportation engineering, these are the simulation softwares, for example. Each discipline have their own, like it's GIS maybe, geographical analysis. And I was doing this sort of stalking, let's say, to professionals, trying to understand, trying through LinkedIn or papers or other online resources to understand what is their career path, so I can understand, what do I need to do to get there. And yeah, I don't know. And what Rodrigo said, it's also very important that UMass has a huge amount of resources that can help you prepare for your career. I mean, they can be a bit generic because they apply to people from STEM, to people from political sciences and everything. But in the beginning, we don't really know how to set up our resume. And you need to understand that, you need to build different resumes depending on the position that you're willing to apply. And how to prepare for an interview, how to put in the surface all the amount of knowledge and skills you have gained through graduate school. So I would really say that anyone should go there and seek to work closer with these people and get as much as they can out of it. And papers, of course, industry, academia, like it's always important because even in industry, there are so many organizations that they are doing research. So if you have a PhD, you need to be able to demonstrate that you know how to do the analysis, you know how to write a paper, you know how to write a proposal maybe, how to synthesize and organize all the knowledge that exists out there through a very thorough literature review, for example. That for us, this is easier than other people maybe. They find it, they will, I've seen it, they might rephrase the abstract, which is not how you done a literature review. So you need to be able to demonstrate those skills, but also have those skills. And so,
Thank you. Thank you, Katerina.
Next question.
Thank you so much. So now we can move on to the networking stuff and job market. So I know that Deniz just started. She started searching like before the pandemic, but she has been like the last one in the job market searching. Also like Rodrigo and Katerina. But I mean, she moved during the pandemic, so she can give us some insights how she did manage this in this challenging time. Also, we have a question from Alisa that who is asking how much networking played a role in each of you getting your position. So you can also elaborate on that. And yeah, let's start with Deniz.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Moshtaba. So The third question is some advice on the job market, right? Yeah, so I got my position right before the pandemic started. So, I mean, the advice that I will give will be mostly related to, you know, before the pandemic. My experience was like all based on, you know, before, like, pre-COVID times. But I guess, like, you know, these days are gonna, you know, things are gonna change, and we're gonna pass these kind of gruesome and kind of dark days. But, you know, things are gonna get better, so things are gonna go back to normal. So next year there will be more academic positions available. I'm hopeful that, you know, things are gonna get better. So it's better to start even from now. If you're in your first year, second year, third year, if you know that you want to be in academia or in industry, I think it's better to start preparing from like now. It might get more competitive because, like, you know, the impact of pandemic is a lot. But okay, so let me give you some advice on how to prepare for the job market. So my advice will be for academia and for tenure track positions. So I would say that spend a lot of time on working on your documents. So you will be asked to send these documents to the positions that are available. So you will be asked to send a research statement, a teaching statement, your resume, things like that. So I would say that, okay, spend a good amount of time on these statements. So make sure that you prepare a good statement. It could be your research statement, or it could be your teaching statement. And as Rodrigo and Katerina mentioned, there are good resources available at UMass, like the Office of Professional Development. Talk to your advisor, talk to your peers or former PhD students who got jobs. So, I mean, if you are in academia, or if you're looking for academia, I would be happy to help you with the questions that you have. For instance, like, you can always ask me. And I think, you know, the documents that you sent will be very important. And applying to schools will take a lot of time. Make sure that you allocate your time efficiently, and make sure that you research the schools and the people in the search committee. Make sure that you have a good understanding of the people in the school, because later you're going to hopefully have some interviews with them, right? So you need to know the profile in the school. And maybe overall, I mean, according to my experience, it was a very, very stressful year. So in my last year of PhD, it was super stressful. You are applying, then you are having interviews. So make sure that you take care of yourself, enjoy little things. And I mean, I guess the last advice would be the same now. You know, we're going through a tough time, so make sure that you take care of yourself. And then I'm sure it's like very stressful and people are real anxious about their future, but, you know, take it step by step. Make sure that you take care of yourself. I guess overall you have to keep your sanity to become successful later in life, right? So these are my 3 big advice that I could give you to prepare for the job market: your statements, your resume, talk with your peers and your advisor. Make sure that you listen to their advice as well, because, you know, most of the time your professors or your advisor, they are already in there, so they are they know what's going on. Because as a PhD student, sometimes we don't know what's going on really. I mean, we have an idea as a student, but I guess, like, being on the other side is, you know, it's kind of different. Now I just started as assistant professor, but I feel like, you know, being on the other side is kind of everything, like, changed my perspective of academia, even changed. So I guess, like, listening to the advice that that my former professors gave me, my advisor gave me, was really helpful. So make sure that you listen to those advice. And take care of yourself. These times are going to pass, and then I'm hopeful that things are going to get better. More positions will be available, and I will be happy to help you if you have any questions later. So yeah.
Thank you so much for your advice. So Vijeta, now I think you have been in your position for a while, so you probably can also give us some advice from the company point of view, or also the hospital that you are working, what they are looking for in the applicants.
It certainly depends from industry to industry, what sort of preparations you might need to do to get a job. So I'm going to give advice for master students who are looking for jobs in industry, because as a master student, we don't really have that much of research experience to get hold of research, good research positions in industry, but analyst sort of positions are well suited for our kind of profiles. So for those profiles, so as I said, it depends from domain to domain, industry to industry, but what skills have seen to be very prevalent throughout the industry is coding skills. If you're able to solve 30% of the problems on lead code, you're good to go. That is very important. I mean, if you're looking for master's level positions, you have to have a really good hand over either Python or Java. These are the two languages which are used in most of the analysis positions. So you have to know them. There are a few positions who also ask for C++, which are very core operations research positions, because we need to get close to the CPU, and Python is really slow in that. So C++ is the third preference, but I would say having really good hold over Python and Java is gonna get you a job, definitely. And so if you're looking for more research oriented positions, so one thing that obviously your master thesis and publishing paper out of it is certainly gonna help you out. But one additional thing that you can do is you can identify a few teams where you would like to go, you aim to go, and see what research they have done, and try to implement those solutions, try to replicate their research in some other data set. So this, the work that team has done, if you replicate that in some other problem or some other data set, then that is a very good selling point for yourself. If you do that, then the team collectively certainly is interested in you, like hiring you for their future projects. So so those are the two main points I'd like to mention, is coding, and the other thing is replicating research results, like coding yourself the mathematical model and then replicating those results. So that will give you a good practice of not just software part of coding, but also analysis part of coding. Like we have to build mathematical models, which is not really a software part, but it is what analysts do in different tech teams. So these are two different practice that will certainly get you a job. So those are the 2 points I would vouch for.
Thank you, Vijeta. Great advice for those who want to go to industry. Thanks. And Rodrigo, I know that you were looking for a job, I think, in the middle of the pandemic. So it would be great to hear from you more about your experience.
Sure. Yeah, sorry, I guess I already kind of had halfway answered this question.
Oh, that is good.
But yeah, so I had defended my PhD at the end of March, and so from that point on, I was trying to address the comments on my dissertation while in the job market, while we were going into quarantine and stuff. So it was definitely a very stressful experience, also in part, which I think this applies to a lot of graduate students. So I'm from Mexico, you know, since I'm graduating, I would be graduating in September, you know, I have visa requirements to, you know, either have a job or go home. So that's another added pressure, I think, that a lot of graduate students have. So yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely very important for international graduate students to be aware of the visa requirements. What are the timelines that we need to have for OPT and other stuff? If we want to stay here to work, definitely we have to be very careful about that. We don't. It'd be, yeah, I think a very unfortunate situation if we were able to get a job or something, and it wasn't made possible because of some visa issues. But yeah, so I was starting to send a lot of job applications throughout the lockdown, and I was sending both to kind of NGOs that do kind of like operations research and postdoc positions. And I guess to answer Alyssa's question, and I think I had about four interviews, I think, and 2 of those were from I guess networking. So 2 of those were from either people that I had previously met and reached out to, or that my advisor had connected me to, and 2 of those positions that I had interviews for were just by I guess sending my electronic application. Which in this case, the position at Appalachian State wasn't through a previous networking connection, but I guess you never know. Yeah, and so while, as Deniz said, definitely your documents, like your personal statement, sometimes your teaching statement, diversity statement, all those things are a great tool for you to kind of sell yourself, to promote how you can differentiate yourself from others, and really try to tell a unique story to make yourself stand out. So definitely, if you have friends or a professor, somebody that you can ask, like, have people read it. If you can't have people read these statements, get feedback, as much feedback as you can. Yeah, get as much. I had written something down, but yeah, just try to get as much feedback as you can. And a lot of people have gone through this process. Probably a lot of your friends might be a year or 2 before you. So if they just went through this, always ask them about what were their experience, what worked, what didn't work. And you know, sometimes if you feel comfortable with somebody, friends can be comfortable with sharing their material with you, and that could be a good guide for you in developing your portfolio as well, being your resume, CV, or personal statements. Always, it's always a great tool to ask people that have been through that before you.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Now, Katerina, I know Katerina probably had a unique experience. She was focused on going to Greece, so it was limited, not US. So probably she didn't have the opportunity to have like in-person interviews. So it is good to hear from her experience.
So yeah, I'll try to answer at the same time address Prasant's question in the chat, and also say a bit more about Alyssa's. I did not have an internship opportunity, and so I don't know about that aspect. So I think a general advice is, when you are I'm mostly talking from the STEM perspective because I'm in engineering, and the way my PhD went, I did not really do anything related to operation research. Like I did not do optimization in my dissertation, let's say. I think it's really important, no matter what, like either you go into industry or academia, to have strong technical skills. The first one will, in industry, technical skills will guarantee you a job. But then if you go to academia, eventually you will have students and you will have a research project. And I mean, I'm guessing you will have to work with them and make sure that, you know, the code is working, the results are valid and everything. So this is also useful, I think. But it's also really important to do not leave your soft skills aside. And I think for me, what has been really helpful, mostly in understanding what I want to do next, because I had the opportunity to meet many different people, is that I had been involved in 2 student chapters, and in the third one, but not that actively, the Women in Transportation, and also the student chapter of Informs. So in both cases, I had the opportunity to meet many people and see what type of job they're doing, you know, what career track they had to get at that point. So even if day to day, in many cases, being involved in a chapter, you know, it can be stressful because you have additional tasks, not only your research, not only your classes, but you have to send emails to people, you have to attend events and everything. At the end, it's really beneficial because it's a way to better understand yourself and also the job market out there. And then to go to the question about how's research and academic jobs in Greece and Europe, my understanding from the 2 months that I've been here is that I think US has more opportunities just because of the language. Like you have a geographical area that they all speak English. But in Europe, for example, I cannot go to teach in Bulgaria because I don't speak the language, and I can only apply there if they have an English-speaking university. So this is very restrictive, I think, regarding the academia. Regarding the projects, what I've seen so far, most of the funding comes through the European Union. Either this is something more like the NSF, that there is a project and you apply and you get the project and you can do your own research in a specific time frame, but you can also have European Union some sort of a client, like you deliver something specific to them, like they want to see a specific project on a monthly basis, you have reports, you have meetings with them to report the progress and everything, which in our case in transportation, this can be a Department of Transportation study or project assignment. Yeah, I don't have something else in mind on that. And of course, the networking that Alisa had this as a question, it's also very important. You need to let people know, like for me, I got my job here because I talked to someone that works in that university, and I was like, yeah, I'm in the US, I think I want to go back to Europe just to be closer to my family. And he was like, oh, you should apply to our university because we are looking for someone. And I didn't even think about it. So, I mean, I was lucky. I'm not saying that. Matching and everything, you know, luck comes into place. But if I hadn't talked to him, or if I've already talked to him, I would never have known about this position. So the more you speak to people, I think the best, you know, it cannot harm you in any case. Yep, that's it.
Thank you, Katerina, for insightful points, and thank you all the panelists for answering these questions, discussions. Now let's go to the questions. Yeah, I think we can. Thank you. So we still have time to go over the questions. I think many of them were answered, also some of them in the chat, but I'm going to go over them. Also, the panelists can go over them if they want to answer any of them.
I think, yeah, there was one by James.
Mm-hmm.
I think where he asked if we had accepted any internships during our studies, and what would be the impact of not getting an internship for a master's student. Yeah, so I was looking at this, and I would say that, yeah, I think, yeah, in general, of course, if you can get an internship or some industry experience, it would definitely be beneficial towards your resume. In general, I think it is nice to, I guess, kind of complement, to have the different perspective from both academia and industry. But I would say that it's definitely not, it's definitely not like it's definitely not the end of the world if you can't get an internship throughout your studies. Within the classes that we take, the projects that we do within our master's or PhD, like we have a lot of freedom to kind of mold it into what we want, or kind of like to take it in the direction that we want. So if we can't get an internship in a specific area, then maybe you could try to focus on developing certain projects and certain classes, like so that you can so that you can sell that. It's like, okay, I didn't have an internship in this, but I took classes in this field that complement me wanting to get into this area, or I did independent study with this professor that also does research in this area, and things like that. So yeah, I think it's about working with what you have. So if you're not able to get an internship position, you can definitely make it work or compensate for that in other ways, I think.
Yeah, I want to add to that. So I didn't do an internship, but I spent my summers working on papers, which helped me a lot in the job market. So I think if you choose a path, then I think it depends. I guess it depends on the path that you chose. I mean, if you're going to work in decided to work in academia or get a job in academia, I believe that working on your papers during summertime was more helpful to me than doing an internship in a company. Yeah.
Thank you, Deniz. I think all other questions have been answered from what I can see. If not, please just unmute yourself and ask the question. And now, Professor Negeni, want to hear from Harris, how he got his great postdoc position in Finland. And congratulations, Harris. I think you're going to be our next panelist, I guess.
Oh. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I recently accepted this offer for a postdoc in Finland, and it's true, it's kind of interesting because I always start doing things like earlier than expected. So I was planning to start looking for a postdoc positions during the fall semester. But, during August, since I had a little bit more like free time, let's say, I started looking like on websites, like what are the resources that I have to be looking while I'm looking for a postdoc position. I started looking, at professors, research groups around like both Europe and the US. And while I was in that process of like making a list of resources that will help me during the fall semester in my look, I found this postdoc opportunity in Finland. They were like, it is a new university. So I had to do a little research on like how this university, what is this university and what they do. And I actually saw this opportunity posted on a website, but I also received an email in a mailing list that I am enrolled, that they oftentimes post positions related to, it's related to transportation, but most of the times it's academic positions or research opportunities. So I also saw that posting there. And then I was taking an online course from MIT, and I saw some students there from that university in Finland. And I was like, okay, that's a good opportunity to, take advice or, So I did my application. They were flexible regarding, let's say, like the starting date, although it was like the job position was posted in August and the application was in August. They were flexible regarding what the starting date should be. So I discussed it with my advisor. I did my application. The process took like a few months or maybe a little more than that. So this is how I found this position, and this is how I ended up like accepting the offer they made me. So yeah, I mean, again, I discussed about this when the PhD transportation seminar we're having every Tuesday. And regarding postdoc positions, I was a little bit scared at first, like how many opportunities will there be during a pandemic? I mean, it makes perfect sense that it's a hard time. I do see like several opportunities, but it is also important like to filter if these opportunities are good for you. Like the research area might not be exactly what you're doing, or some of the requirements they're asking, you might not satisfy. Like some of them, they ask for, I don't know, like many years of research experience, let's say maybe more than what you have right now, or whatever other qualification that might be needing that you cannot satisfy at that moment. So I think that everyone should be optimistic. And I think even though we were having this pandemic and things are tougher than they used to be, maybe, I believe that everyone will find something. My advice is to like keep looking. I was literally looking maybe like every other day. I was just checking those websites and being sure that I haven't missed any opportunity. So if I have an advice, maybe that's it. Like look as often as you can, even if it looks early to you.
Congratulations.
Can I ask Alisa on how Germany is giving opportunities for academic and research as compared to USA?
Unfortunately, I don't know if I can speak to that super well. I'm only here for a year as a visiting research assistant, and then I'm coming back to the US to finish my PhD next year. In terms of working on PhD work here, they have fantastic scholarships. They have the national program to even have visiting professors as well. There's another visiting professor in the same department as I am in from Spain at the same time as I'm here. So I would say for visiting, I know it's definitely plentiful in Germany. I am unsure on the academic side.
So maybe next year you'll tell us.
I don't know if I'll be working in Germany because I do not speak fluent German. But to be fair, our department doesn't speak fluent German, but I think it'd be helpful to do that when I live here. I'm planning to apply in the US, but you never know. I'll update you if I end up in Germany on that process.
Okay, great. Thank you all. Thanks to all our panelists and the audience. It was a very great session. I learned a lot. And thank you, everyone. I hope we can see each other in person soon, sometime in a conference. And thank you again for joining us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone. Take care.